The palace had rules older than the kingdom itself. Every prince married for alliance. Every wedding strengthened power. Love was never part of the agreement. Prince Kael had known this since childhood. "You will marry for the crown," his father had told him countless times, "not for your heart." Kael used to nod. He used to agree. Until he met Amara. Amara was not noble. She was not from a powerful tribe. In fact, she came from the River Clan, a group long dismissed by the High Council as insignificant. They were traders, craftsmen, farmers, honest people, but never considered worthy of the palace. The first time Kael saw her, she was arguing. "That tax is unfair," Amara said boldly to a royal guard in the market square. "You take from families who barely eat." The guard sneered. "Watch your tone. You speak about the crown." "I speak about justice," she replied. Kael watched from a distance, disguised in a plain cloak. Most people bowed when they saw authority. She stood taller. Later that evening, he approached her. "You speak dangerously," he said. She turned sharply. "And you listen too quietly." He almost smiled. "You don't fear consequences? I fear silence more." That was the beginning. They met again and again. Conversations turned longer. Arguments turned into laughter. Laughter turned into something deeper. But the palace was watching. One night, Queen Ilara summoned her son. "I hear rumors," she said calmly, though her eyes were sharp, "about a girl from the River Clan." Kael didn't deny it. "Her name is Amara." The queen's voice hardened. "She is not suitable. She is brave, she is intelligent, she cares about this kingdom. She has no title. She has integrity. That does not strengthen alliances," the queen snapped. "You are promised to Lady Selene of the Northern Empire." Kael stepped back. "Promised? Without my consent?" "You are a prince," his father's voice boomed as he entered the chamber. "Your consent is your duty." Kael felt something shift inside him. For years he had been obedient. For years he had followed tradition. "No," he said quietly. The room fell silent. "No," the king repeated. "I will not marry someone for politics while my heart belongs elsewhere." The king's expression darkened. "You would embarrass this family? You would risk war?" "I would rather build peace than fake unity," Kael replied. The news spread quickly. Whispers filled the corridors. "He's bewitched. She trapped him. She's manipulating him." Amara felt the weight of it all. When Kael came to see her that night, she looked troubled. "This is bigger than us," she said. "Your father could exile you." "Would you leave if I asked you to?" he questioned. She held his gaze. "If staying destroys your future, yes." He stepped closer. "You are my future." Days later, the king made his move. Kael was summoned before the High Council. "You will end this," the king commanded publicly, "or you will be stripped of your title." Gasps echoed. Amara stood hidden among the observers, heart racing. Kael looked at the council members, men who valued bloodlines over character. "If loving someone of this kingdom disqualifies me from ruling it, then perhaps the crown needs redefining." "You dare challenge centuries of tradition?" one elder shouted. "I dare to challenge injustice," Kael responded. The king's voice was ice. "You choose her over your throne?" Kael didn't hesitate. "Yes." The hall erupted in chaos. The king stood. "Then you are no longer heir to this crown." Silence crashed over the room. Amara stepped forward before she could stop herself. "This is my fault." Kael turned sharply. "No." She faced the king. "Your Majesty, I never asked for this." "And yet you caused it," the queen replied coldly. Kael stepped between them. "I caused it. Punish me, not her." The tension was unbearable. Then something unexpected happened. A council member rose slowly. Lord Cassian, the oldest among them. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "the people have grown restless in recent years. They speak of inequality, of feeling unheard." The king frowned. "What's your point?" "If the prince is willing to sacrifice power for one of them, that may not weaken the crown. It may strengthen it." Murmurs spread. Another councilwoman nodded. "The River Clan has influence among merchants. Rejecting them may create more division. The king looked at his son, truly looked at him. "You would give up everything?" he asked quietly. Kael answered just as quietly. "For the right reasons, yes." The queen studied Amara. "And you? If he keeps his title, can you withstand the hatred, the scrutiny?" Amara's voice trembled at first, but steadied. "I have endured being unseen my entire life. I can endure being judged." The king exhaled slowly. Tradition exists for stability, but perhaps stability without justice is fragile. The room waited. "Prince Kael," the king finally declared, "you will remain heir, but know this, your marriage will not be shielded from consequence. You will prove this choice benefits the kingdom." Relief flooded the hall. Kael bowed deeply. "I will." Weeks later, the palace held a wedding unlike any before. There were nobles who attended reluctantly. There were citizens who watched with hope. When Amara walked beside Kael, she did not bow her head. She lifted it. During the ceremony, the priest asked, "Do you choose each other freely?" "Yes," they both said without hesitation. And in that moment, tradition cracked, but it did not shatter. It evolved. Months passed. Amara introduced fair trade reforms for the River Clan and beyond. Taxes were adjusted. Merchant voices were heard in council meetings for the first time. The people noticed. Markets flourished. Tensions eased. One evening, the king stood on the balcony overlooking the city lights. "You were right," he admitted quietly to Kael. Kael smiled faintly. "It was never about defiance. It was about change," the king finished. Behind them, Amara joined, confident and composed. The queen studied her carefully before speaking. "You have surprised us," Amara replied gently. "I never wanted to take anything from this palace, only to add something to it." And she had. Years later, when Kael finally wore the crown, the kingdom was different, not weaker, stronger, because one prince had chosen courage over comfort, one woman had stood firm despite rejection, and one tradition had been rewritten, not through rebellion alone, but through conviction. What happened when the prince broke tradition? He didn't destroy the kingdom, he transformed it. And sometimes the greatest leaders are the ones willing to risk everything, not for power, but for principle. If you enjoyed this royal love story and want more emotional palace dramas, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful storytelling every week. Your support helps bring these stories to life.